Mitchell. In today's episode, I'll be talking about society is addicted to quick fixes. So I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, please show your appreciation. Hit the like, share, let your friends know about it. Or if you feel so inclined, there's a donate button down below too as well. So that being said, I'll be going over a recap episode, and I will have 4 slides I'll be talking about. Um, so like I said, today, society is addicted to quick fixes. And I feel like that is the one thing that we do know. Like how can we fix certain things so that it doesn't happen, or so that I can alleviate this tension that's going on, right? That's one of them. Sup, Tracy? What's up? What's up? All right, so my recap episode is on my previous episode, which is the quickest way to get someone to change is to change yourself, right? And it's really tied into this episode today because sup, Tracy? Long time no see. Sarah. It's tied in because the best thing that you can do is to change yourself. There's nothing that you can do to change other people. It wouldn't be right to change another person, because then you're trying to form them into something that what you want, but that's not how reality works. You know what I mean? Especially now, I'm not saying like if this is your kid, is a little bit different. I'm talking about you trying to be with somebody. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you let them be as they are, and and stay true to themselves. Now, if they want to change and it's their own choice, absolutely, and I think that's a great idea. But like I said, society, we're just looking for quick fixes. How can I fix this? And there are pros and cons with quick fixes. You know what I mean? But let me move on. Here's a recap episode. You can only change yourself, right? Trying to change others when it is not their choice is only a recipe for resentment. Many people put time and energy into trying to change somebody. They invest all the time trying to change somebody, and usually what happens is they get resentful. They're like, I never wanted to do that. You told me that blah blah blah, like you want me to be this, and yet you're still unhappy. You're still unhappy, right? Like, and it's a never-ending cycle. That's usually what happens when you're trying to always continuously change somebody. You feel like you have more power and authority, and then once you have that, you feel like, hey, you could be more, and then deep down you'd be like, well, I just wanted you to become better. And I think that's the right intention, but at the same time, it has to be their choice. If it's not their choice, it's gonna be you're gonna have resentment. You know what I mean? So even if it's for their own good, with the right intention, they will quickly find themselves back to where they started, because it's like, look, I never wanted to do this, right? If it's not their choice and they never wanted to do it, they did it to please you, they're not gonna find it's not truthful to them. It's not who they are, you know. So this usually gets a person who's trying to change someone angry and frustrated. So let's just say I'm trying to change you, and say you change, but then you end up not liking it very much because maybe there's a lack of miscommunication. Now, what I did was wrong. Like, I'm trying to change you, it's wrong, but then you didn't voice your opinion about it. Resentment, that's where it begins, right? But let's just say you did voice your opinion, and I still decided, hey, you know what? So I gave you an ultimatum, right? Quick fix. So I gave you an ultimatum. Look, if you don't change, then I'm not gonna be with you anymore. That is literally one of the worst things that you could do in a relationship. Well, one of it, right? It's one of those silent killers in a relationship. You know what I mean? One of those louder killers of the relationship is like betrayal, trust, having affairs, cheating, all that, right? Like those are instant. This is more of a slow, you don't really see it coming, but it takes both parties. So that's why when you are in a relationship, you want to make sure that you guys communicate in a way where it's nice and healthy. Healthy communications means that I'm going to put aside my opinions and listen to your side. Even if I disagree with it, I'll still listen to you, because while you're important to me, I want to make sure that you're okay, And let's just say whatever you do or whatever you say goes against my belief. Well, I have a choice to be like, you know what, that's not who I am. I feel like that's a little bit too much for me. Hey, you want to go out and you want to go do those type of things. I'm not going to try to stop you, nor will I change you. What I am going to do is I just won't participate in this relationship anymore. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's so important to kind of vet your prospects or the people that is coming into your life. And how you do that is by becoming that person, so that you could create a nice little space for the next person to come in, right? You got to create the life and lifestyle that you want. So the the deserve is only meant for the worthy, right? So what that means is you have to be there first. If you want someone that has all this, you got to be there first, right? And you got to be willing to break down some certain, like, to break down barriers. You know what I mean? You got to know what you want, go for it, and you're going to have obstacles. And when you do have obstacles, you're going to make sure you be like, well, here's a problem. This is how you fix it. Let's move on, right? And that's usually the best way. This is how successful people become more successful, right? Now, and this is from Coach Corey Wayne, so I want to give him a shout out for this. And he says, you could gently lead or suggest, but never try to do it for them, okay? You can love someone for their potential, but if they are not living up to their fullest potential, it is not your job to save or fix them, okay? That's really important. It is not your job to save them. It's not your job to fix them, okay? And you're not the therapist, okay? So you're in this relationship because you accept them for who they are. And if you don't like that, leave. Don't try to change somebody. Let them know, I think this would be better for you if you did this. And if they still don't want to do that, you have two options. You can stay or you can leave, which is here. If they are unwilling, you can either accept them and love them as they are, or leave them and find someone who is what you want. Trying to change someone is not accepting reality. When you trying to change someone is not accepting reality. When we want reality to be better than it is, we suffer, right? Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. So if you stay in a relationship knowing that that's not what you want, you choosing to suffer. Now, leaving that relationship or whatever in the beginning, that's still gonna hurt a little bit, but you're not gonna be so fixated on that. And you know you're creating this better space for that next person to come in, assuming that you're working towards your goals, right? So no one have to be fixed. So no one have fix someone. If that person wants to change, absolutely they got to change on their own, right? So what does it mean? How do you encourage somebody, not change, but how do you encourage somebody to do something that maybe you want to do for them, right? Like, not do it for them, but damn, I just mixed my speech. So how do you encourage somebody to better their lives? That's what I meant, right? How do you encourage somebody to say, like, hey, you know what? If you did this, I think your life would be a little bit better. And they ask why. And when they ask, that's them allowing you to shed some light on what's going on, right? Maybe they're unaware. And you just gotta let them know, hey, you know, I know it's not gonna be easy, but you know, your doctor did say this, and I think, and then you're lacking a little bit of confidence, and maybe just going to the gym, being around it, maybe spend 30 minutes a day, start small, and then build your way up from there, right? And so with people like that they have zero experience at the gym, they don't know what's going on, they don't even know what gym equipment, what to do, and they don't want to make a fool out of themselves because you want someone that wants to continue to go back in. That's why having a trainer or having a friend that knows what they're doing in that situation will be a lot helpful, right? So that's why it's like, look, if you're not good at one thing and you want to become better, the quickest way to excel in that is to find a mentor, whether it's a coach or whatever, right? Say you want a better relationship, find a coach. If you want to improve your finance, find a mentor or a coach that could help you get up your finances, right? Your bank account a little bit higher, right? So things like that, things like in that nature. Anyways, let's move on to the meat of the topic. Society is addicted to quick fixes. So there are pros and cons of quick fixes. And let's talk about what is a quick fix, right? A quick fix, by definition, is a problem-solving technique which involves using the fastest solution to keep the problem from escalating or recurring in the near future. That's a quick fix. Okay. I don't necessarily agree with the last part, but that's what they said. So I just use that, right? Reoccurring in the near future. I think that's the thing. Like, quick fixes are short term versus solution based is more long term, right? Same thing. It's like if you're in a relationship and you had an argument, but then you try to patch things up by doing a nice gesture. Hope, like I said, I'm moving ahead of myself. But if you're doing something for a nice gesture, hoping that that person would get over that, right? Maybe is buying that person something nice, taking it up to a nice meal, whatever. What's up, chef? Taking it up to a nice meal and all that. Then it's like that's not supposed to replace what is happening or replace what is going on. And that is, but most people think that, like, hey, I could just do this, she will forget about it, or he will forget about it, it's in the past. No, things add up. It's conflict delay. So, or it's conflict just kind of bottling up, you know what I mean? You're delaying it, but it's still there and you're bottling it up. That's a quick fix. And I think like I said, quick fixes are good when it comes to de-escalating the tension between you guys, right? So that you could reapproach that same situation, but at a later time. And I think that is a great choice, because sometimes some people, because we're emotional creatures. If you're yelling at me and I'm yelling at you and we can't figure out a solution, and we're only listening to your own thoughts, and this is what I want and this is not what you want, whatever, then we got to really sit down and really talk about it. But then again, that's another thing. Let's just say you go back to that and they still don't want to talk about it, or when you are trying to bring it up, they're not trying to communicate at all because they want it their way, then that's not called healthy communication. Okay? That's not called healthy communication. Healthy communication is, look, I get that is what you want, but that's not who I am. And if that's too much for you, then maybe it's best to not be together, because you're trying this and this is not what I want. You know what I mean? And I would even applaud that person for even saying that, because it's like, no, they're sticking to what they believe is right. You know what I mean? But most people can't do that because our emotions are involved, right? We're too invested. So moving on, next one is solving the immediate problem quickly is a good thing, especially when it's like, say, customer, right? A customer about team or money, right? But the quick fix is often nothing more than a band-aid. It's just like a little band-aid that you put on. It doesn't address the root cause. It does not. Okay, so like I said, it's good to dissolve the tension, and that's okay. And from time to time, you might get lucky. They might not come back. Okay, but is that really what you want as a company? Let's just say you run a company, right? So here's an example. Well, let me finish this first. So it's a short-term solution. The problem will likely to return again. Okay, so here's an example. Oh, excuse me, Tracy. So there is no such thing as a quick fix. Take a break if you need to limit time. I don't let things go unsolved amicably for both parties. Right? You don't let the other person go to sleep being upset. Let's talk about this. Or if you really don't want to talk about it now, okay. But just at least kind of like lower the tension a little bit. You know what? Okay, how about this? We could talk about it in the morning, or whenever you feel a little bit better about it, more comfortable about it, and then we could sit down and have a discussion. I think discussions are good, right? So here's an example. For example, you have someone come over to your house to fix a sink, okay? Simple as that. The work they've done is unsatisfactory. You're not happy with it. So what happens? You call in, you be like, hey, this guy from your company, his name is Joe. He came in and it's still leaking. If anything, it's kind of worse. It's worse than how it was. I don't think the problem's fixed. And now you're upset because not only did you already spent the money, There's more time, right? What if you have work? What if you have important things? No, you got to stay home so that they could come over and fix the sink. It's an inconvenience, right? So right now it's more like time, and it's like it should have been fixed the first time, right? And yeah, maybe they could compensate you. Here's a little coupon certificate. We could give you 15% off, or like a refund or whatever, right? Quick fixes, sure. So now, what ends up happening is they send someone over, a different person. They send someone over and a different person. This person now is a little bit more competent. They know how to fix a sink. If anything, they made it better. So the problem is not there again. Problem solved. Done. Boom. So quick fixes, right? Problem is fixed. Short-term problem is fixed. The short-term problem is fixed. Long-term, you might need a little bit more training for that, for Mr. Joe Smith. Okay, Mr. Smith over there. Because let's just say Mr. Joe Smith is still working for that company, and he has his consecutive unsatisfactory of, he doesn't really fix anything. You know what I mean? But so long-term wise, if you're looking at a long-term, it would be better to, should the company invest a little bit more to train that person, so that they're more competent, so that when they go over to fix a sink, this problem won't happen again. Or maybe reveal what went wrong, right? Because some people make mistakes, and that's okay, right? But if it's consecutive, then you're probably the common denominator. Okay, so great for disarming or like to de-escalate, but bad for long-term solutions. And also, it's not good on your behalf too as well, because you're kind of encouraging the other person to like, hey, you know what am I gonna get for this? Because you basically continue to waste my time, right? And this is just for a company, right? Now imagine that this is for your relationship, right? And now I'll get to this. So in a relationship, for example, you're encouraging the other person, let's just say they're being disrespectful, and you're tolerating it. So whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. Now, finally, you stand up for yourself. You tell them to never call again, but then again, you reach back out, right? Like, so you see how like the inconsistencies of it, right? So you think the quick fix is to say, never call me back ever again, because some people use that as a bluff, but they don't really mean it. When I say shit like that, I'd be like, yo, don't ever call me again. That means don't ever call me again. I'm like, it would take a lot for me to even say that personally. But when I do say that, I mean it. And you got to stay consistent with it. You got to, because whatever you tolerate, you invite more of. So if I said never call me ever again, and then 2 weeks later, I call you back, what does it say about my words? What does it say about me, right? I'm very inconsistent, right? Now, and also you wouldn't take me serious no more, because every single time I drop the standard a little bit, you're going to be like, all right, Mitchell doesn't, yeah. When you say you're done, you walk away and you never look back. That's the best negotiating position anyways. It's like, look, if you offer this job and they're offering you this pay, and they're unwilling to give you this amount of pay, you'd be like, well, this is how much I'm worth. Well, guess what? Hey, I appreciate your time. I'll take my blah 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 elsewhere. Yeah, and you just walk away. And then if they decide to be like, look, we're giving you 40, but we could give you 55 because that's what you're getting over there, or whatever. You know what I mean? So best negotiating position is to walk away immediately. But then that means that, are you doing the things to build yourself up? Always be willing to walk. So and take the, and for most people, always be willing to take the L, right? Take the loss. But in reality, it's how I see it is, it's not really a loss. You're just really creating this opportunity so that you have a better proposal for you. You know what I mean? And yeah. So quick fixes in a relationship. So in a relationship, quick fixes are pretty common, and it's usually kind of the things that we know. We usually go down this kind of rabbit hole and be like, yeah, I'll make it up. What do you mean by making it up to her? Fuck you mean you making it up to her? What are you doing? And so you do maybe a nice gesture or whatever, and she's a little bit happy about it. But like I said, the problem's not resolved, right? It's a short-term fix. Oh, they'll get over it. I did something nice already. She probably forgot about it. Okay. If there's anything that I've learned, women don't forget shit. Okay, they don't forget anything. All right, they remember everything. Oh, you don't remember? You don't remember the first time we were having dinner? Our first date? Where do we eat? What day was it? What song was playing? What did you order? Like, she expect you to like be like, how many scallions was in your ramen noodles? You know, type of stuff like that. She will bring it up. What was I wearing? Remember what you said? Like, yeah. Remember those, all right? I hate that you can't make things up. I hate that you can't not make things up when done is done. I got a little confused over there. I'm not gonna lie, Tracy. But I think what you meant is done, right? True, Mitchell. I sure can remember more than most, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So you would never. You know why? Because your feelings is attached. Like, I don't even remember what I had yesterday, but you asked me about what happened at 9/11. Oh, I remember. I went out and bought Pokemon cards. They told me not to go to school. I was the happiest kid alive. So anyways, quick fixes is what we know. It's what we usually go to, right? They get over it. It's not that big of a deal. Probably one of the worst things you could say. Or relax, right? Never say relax. If you want to piss her off, say relax. And so here's the thing though. And just because you don't feel that something is wrong, it doesn't mean the other person doesn't feel that. You know what I mean? And so that is why it is important for both parties in a relationship to have empathy, so that you can understand the other person. Now, empathy doesn't mean you're a pushover. Empathy means that, look, I understand what you're going through. I understand. I hear you, right? And what are you gonna do about it, basically, right? Are you going to fix it? Are you gonna find a solution? So that's usually it. You basically ignoring how they feel. What's up, man? Always during cooking. Oh, so now it's my fault now, huh? So men, maybe you gotta switch your schedule a little bit. All right. So so the other person doesn't feel heard, right? And you know, same thing goes when a woman doesn't feel heard and understood. The legs close. It's not gonna open up. How are you gonna open it up? Talk to her. Listen to her. What's going on, baby? What's wrong? What's bothering you? What's on your mind? Tell me more. I want to know all about your day. Is that, yeah. Shut up and just listen. And then ask questions, okay? So it means that you haven't reached the root of the problem and the person still feels kind of dismissed, right? Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and all you did was listen to them? Say in a relationship, and it's all about them. When they call you, whatever, it's always about them. They never ask you about how you are, or they're very like, they don't really care. They ask because they're aware of it, but they're not really. Their intent isn't to really listen to how you are as a person. But it's like, so how you been? Cool. Oh yeah, that reminds me about this. What happened last week? Oh my god. So it's back to them again, right? I'm pretty sure you guys dealt with that. Meant to say hi, but you know what I'm talking about, right? You're talking to somebody, they don't really ask you about how you are. It goes back on the checkmate. Ooh, okay, see, men, root problem. All right, you the problem, men. I'm kidding. All right, so the root problem still lies within. Okay, the root problem from then lies within listening and understanding the other person. So that's how you solve that thing, right? So you're saying that when you're talking about yourself, I know this is preschool, right? So when you're talking and I interrupt you, you feel like I don't listen to you. Is that what, like, go back to being a kid, right? Oh, I didn't know that when you're talking and I interrupt you, that hurts your feelings, kind of thing, right? Like, kind of go back to being a child, but don't be offended by the tone or the words. Like, that makes you feel dismissed, or like I feels like I don't care about you. Is that what it is? Because that's not. Um, yeah, maybe that's a little bit. That's a part of how I grew up, but if I want to have a happier, healthy relationship, I'll need to listen a little bit more, right? And usually, especially men, they don't like to say those things out loud. It has to be, you have to let him be in his own little man cave to really sit and think about it. Like, maybe he's playing games with his boys. You know what, boys? Guess what happened? What? I don't know, man. Me and my wife or girl, whatever, we had a fight, blah 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 blah. And she says I never listened to her. Oh, well, it's because you don't. And, well, okay, well, maybe that's true. But she says that I always interrupt her, and that feels like, she tell me that it feels like I'm always interrupting, and when I interrupt, I don't listen, and I don't listen, and it's always about me. Yeah, yeah, well, that's kind of true too. It's like, oh shit, reality hits. See, when your boys tell you shit like that, you be like, oh shit, I could do that. But when she tells you, it's like, no, she's nagging, right? So sometimes it's important to get it from the next person, right? So now this is this is more of a long-term fix, so that the problem won't come back again, or is less likely to come back, right? Because now you're listening to your own thoughts. You're diving into your own thoughts, right? Or your feelings. So you have to perceive it into their perspective. That is the way of a healthy communication. That's so that she could feel heard, she could feel understood, and vice versa, right? Same thing for the guy too, right? Because I get it, ladies. You guys, how many words a day do you guys? I think us guys, 2,000, 3,000. I think you, ladies, you're at like 8, 9, 10,000 words a day. I don't know, right? Let's put it like this: as much as you're supposed to have steps, okay, for a standard living, non-sedentary lifestyle, 10,000 steps, 10,000 words. Match that. You want to be equals, right? you want to be equals? 10,000 steps, 10,000 words. That's a joke. But anyways, most people, this is what they want to do, right? This is a quick fix. This is a quick fix, which is like, well, how can I change my partner? My girlfriend, my boyfriend, or whatever, right? How can I make him or her call me more? How can I make that person that I'm in love with call me more, right? Those are quick fixes, quick tips. And how can I make this person step up a little bit more in the relationship? Or how can I make this person love me more, right? These are quick fixes. But then again, these aren't the best approach. Now, it's good if you understand the philosophy behind it. That's great, so that you have the deeper understanding. But if you're just doing this and you're like a robot and you get what you want, and then when you don't have it anymore, then you apply it again. It's not just a plug and play kind of fix. It's more like nothing is set in stone. So that's why even what I'm teaching, this is not tips and tricks. These are philosophies. This is how you're supposed to act, so that you could become a better person, so that you could create this lifestyle, this space for the next person or that person in your life to come in. This is why you reevaluate our behaviors after a conflict, after we calm down, right? If needed, apologize, make adjustments, yeah. But now society is saying that, oh, if you apologize, you're a bitch, and I don't think so. I think that you can own when you own up to your own mistakes. That's like, that's vulnerability. You're like, shit, like, I gotta put my ego aside and listen and be like, shit, I fucked up a little bit. And I did fuck up, and I do need to apologize for that. But it's also in that, hopefully your partner doesn't take that apology and be like, now bow down to me, bitch. That's not good. Now you both are struggling trying to get power in the relationship. Yeah, that's not good. That's not gonna be healthy, right? So It's being able to step back and be like, okay, let's resolve this together. It's okay. I understand you were having a hard time, but thank you for coming and, apologizing. And it means a lot to me that you apologize, right? That means a lot. It means a lot. It means that um, you thought about it and you wanted to you're working towards this relationship, and I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And I like you more because of that. I like you more because of that. Yeah, this is nice. This is nice. Even though it's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird. Come over here. Kiss me. Give me a kiss. Blah 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 blah. Right? And then next thing you know, you're making spaghettis. Right? Right? I would not allow that absolutely together. But so the quick fixes, which is like, how can I change my partner? How can I make them call more? How to make this person step up or love me more in a relationship? The real question that you're really supposed to be asking yourself is, are you willing to put in the effort and set and enforce healthy boundaries to create the relationship that you expect? Are you willing to do that? Right? Are you willing to figure out what you want so that you're not going to settle for less? Because if you are settling, then it is important that maybe it's not the best to be in that relationship if you're settling in that relationship. You know what I mean? And that whole settling part is usually because you believe that this is the best person that you have, at least now. And or maybe you're in this comfort circle that you don't want to escape. Or you really deep down, you're kind of insecure and you don't really believe that you deserve anyone better. That's a possibility too as well, right? So, and a lot of people usually they just hope for something to happen. Like, you can't hope. You can't hope to be happy. It's a choice. You gotta do things so that you can set up in the future to be happier. You know what I mean? Like, it's a choice. It doesn't happen by chance. Happiness does not happen by chance. But some people, they get a little happy sometimes by luck, right? Maybe someone, you walk down the street, someone greeted you and was really nice to you, and yeah. Hi, this is S. What's up, SA? So this how can I change my partner? How can I get them to like me more? How can I do this? How can I do that? To me, that just sounds like manipulation, and that's not the right approach, right? If your thing is so that if I plug in this, I want this result, to me that sounds like manipulation. Unless this is who you are changing for yourself, and that's a philosophy. Now that's a little bit different, right? But when it comes to manipulating and tricking people or tricking someone into doing something, right? Like I said, you might get success from it. It might be attainable, but like I said, it's not something that's sustainable, you know? So people that have, I don't know, let's just say people with high body counts, but they brag about it and they'd be like, yeah, you know what? I had this with this many type of people and yada yada yada. And yeah, that's great, but to me, how many great relationships did you have? And what did you learn from that? You know, here's the thing. If you told me you had like 20 to 30 boyfriend, girlfriends or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it tells me that you're probably the problem, or you've been selecting wrong the whole entire time, or both. Because and then you could brag about it. Oh, I had this much fun. I did all this, and that's great. Sure. Okay, you had a lot of fun. You got it out of your system. Now what? That's still all you know. You know what I mean? Like, what else do you have to offer? Like, attainable success, not sustainable. Show me how you could sustain a relationship. How? Tell me how. Right? And that they're happy. And I'm talking about a happy, healthy relationship. Let me tell you something. Most people in a relationship right now, they're not happy in a relationship. They're just kind of like, I could be probably doing better, but you know what? I'll probably stick around until something better comes along, you know? And that's what most people are. Now loneliness sets in. Absolutely. And so that's why I said, you know what? I don't think loneliness is a bad thing. I think it becomes bad when you don't have anything to move forward in growth, right? So if chicken thighs look like frog leg. So men, you just hungry, right? I don't think they sell frogs in KFC, all right? They don't sell frogs. So this is that's the thing. That's the problem with this whole quick fix thing, right? But like I said, it's great when it's like this heated. You want to step away from it. It's great. You know what's this? What? I'm gonna move on. All right. Otherwise, I'll stay stuck forever. All right. So quick fixes may patch things up, but it doesn't find a solution to the root cause. Quick fixes are great for arguments when it comes to heated intensity, perhaps stepping away from the conversation or breaking up that argument. You know, you don't want to continue to scream on the top of your lungs to each person, right? And and most people arguing, when they argue, they don't really have an intent to try to resolve the problem. They're just trying to win the argument. And that's why you hear that whole cliche. When you win an argument, you're not really winning. You're technically losing that person. Unless that's what you want. Feed my chicken gravy. So alleviating tension, great. Long term, no. Okay. So there's no magic pickup line, right? There's no one magic pickup line. So society being addicted to quick fixes. Yo, Mitchell, what's one thing I could say to a girl that will get them interested? What's one thing I could do this? What's blah, 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 I could do that, right? Now, when it comes to guys approaching women, right? The number one most attractive thing from a guy is confidence, right? Confidence. Because confidence usually means, especially up front, this is what I could see, it's in the front, right? It's great because it shows like, hey, you know, you're not afraid to approach things. It means that you're willing to take chances. You're willing to take risks. What does that mean if you continue to take more chances? It means that chances are you're gonna be more successful. And when you become more successful, there's a status, right? There's one thing that I don't know if I could quote it. Hold on, let me think. Nah, it's probably not that important. Not for this episode. But yeah, there's no magic pickup line. There's no one thing that you could say, right? So, you know, like, what is one thing I could say to someone that would encourage them to maybe give me their phone number? Or what's one thing I can do to make my girlfriend love me more, or for her to come back into my life and shit like that? Like, now it is important to understand why you're doing it, right? Just like here's an example. A quick fix nowadays is no contact. No contact. And I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware of that. If you're not, I could share it with you. But no contact. So men and women, they use this as a technique to get someone back, and it works. But they don't think about the philosophy behind no contact. No contact doesn't mean I want this person back, so I'm going to use no contact to manipulate how they feel so they can miss me more, so that they will contact me back. So even if it means 2, 3, 4 weeks, few months, I won't contact this person ever again. And one or two things will happen. Either they will come back or they don't. That's a quick fix. And so when you do that and they come back, you're like, ha, I got him back. See, this works, right? Now, like I said, technique, it works. But if you apply it to the philosophy that you have, the philosophy behind no contact is you're not going to spend your time that is most valuable, a commodity that you will never ever get back. Money you can make and money you can come back, right? Time you will never get that back. Why would you want to spend it with somebody that does not even share any type of excitement, that doesn't even want to be around you? Like, that's the philosophy behind it. Spend time with people that's enthusiastic, that wants to be around you. Why? Because life will be a much better place for you, because who wants to be miserable all the time? You don't. So then you're surrounding yourself with people that will bring you into a much happier, joyful, optimistic place. And with optimism, it offers more opportunity for you anyways. You're going to be in a much better place mentally, right? We operate best when we're at a natural, more calm, happy, optimistic state. You ever notice when you're happier, when people talk to you, nothing seems like there's a problem. But then let's just say, before you left the house, you stub your toe, right? You're late for work and you're already stressed on top of that. Now, every red light that you stumble across is going to piss you off, right? Every person that you have to stop for a stop sign is going to piss you off. You know what I mean? But if you got up early and you know what? You're in a better mood, but you got up early and time is not against you now. So when you go to work, you don't have to rush to work. Red lights don't bother you. When people walk, you be like, go ahead. I want them to be. I don't want to rush that other person. Now that person's going to give you the same energy. You'd be like, oh my God, thank you so much. Most people would have just went. You gave me, and you exchange smiles. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. That is how you can build your life and lifestyle to how you want to be. I'm just giving you that as an example, right? But think about it in that type of perspective. If you're in a shitty mood, you're going to make the other person feel more shitty being around you, and it usually is not a lot of excitement, right? So, and that's example, right? This, going back to the whole no contact. No contact is about this philosophy, not a technique so that you can manipulate somebody to try to come back into your life. That is not the right approach, right? But I get it. Most people say that. I want to live in Mitchell's Lego world. What is this way? Anyways, here's an example, right? Like talking to a stranger is the ability to approach with tone, body language, timing, and delivery. So you need a little bit of social EQ, EQ, right? So, and in a relationship, it is about these compounding amount of efforts that you put in to make them feel loved, right? Like if you think about it, and this goes back to, I think it was Simon Sinek, and he was talking about this. He was saying like, look, going to the dentist once or twice a year is not going to keep your teeth, like your teeth will fall off if you don't brush your teeth, right? And going back to the example of relationships, like there's no one thing that this person did that made you fall in love. It's multiple things that they did. Maybe it's the fact that he remember your favorite color, or maybe they remember this, or they did this for you. Even it's those little things, right? And just remember, hey, you know what? Hey, you love ranch dressing, so every single time I order a salad, even though I like mine with Thousand Island, I get ranch, even though I don't like ranch very much, but you like it, so here I got you ranch, right? So then you take some of mine. It's mixed in with the Thousand Island, but it's all good. Let me take my part and move it over here. You can have your. I didn't mix yours with Thousand Island, right? I like Thousand Island. You like your ranch. You can have your ranch, right? All right. So that's an example, right? So that's in a relationship, body language and all that, right? See, effort you put in to make it feel love. And same thing goes for like brushing your teeth. It's no one time, it's the consistency that you do, right? Same thing for health. And in a relationship, not in a relationship, the reality is there isn't an accurate measure of when someone is going to fall in love with you, or if the line or that one line that you use will work. Maybe it helped captivate them, found you interesting. What do you have to say, right? And see, my thing is, I want to be around someone that I don't really look. I get it. You might be the most prettiest girl in the world. Let's just say I'm single, most prettiest girl in the world, or I find you highly attractive. But talking to you is like talking at a brick wall. And it's probably because, I don't find Mitchell very attractive, or I find that maybe it's not my cup of tea. Maybe he's not tall enough or whatever. Then that's fine, right? I don't want to feel like I have to work that damn hard to try to convince one person to like there's so many people. Why do I need to convince you to like me? Like, it's not that important. If you don't like me, that's okay. I get it. I don't like everybody I see. You shouldn't feel the same neither, right? I see y'all talking about different things in the comments, so I'm gonna leave y'all at it. But but that's the thing. It's like, I want an easy and effortless relationship, because it shouldn't, and it doesn't mean I'm lazy. I'm being smart about it. I don't want someone that's like that does not want me. because I'm projecting how I feel, and then they're kind of like they're kind of on the fence. It's like, hey, maybe if I find him that attractive, or I find like certain traits of him, that's nice. But at the same time, I still gotta look at reality as it is. The reality is this person's, uh, let's call it the love scale, right? The scale of love. She's at a 5. She's like, you know what? If Mitchell's not in my life, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm interested enough because he sounds kind of like an interesting person. Sure, I might give him a shot, but he better not mess up because he has this much room to fuck up. Like, ladies, you already know about this, right? If you like a guy, there's almost nothing he could say wrong. Like, so let's just say Jackson Wang, right? He comes up and he said something maybe a little out of pocket. I can't really think of it off the top of my head, but you're probably gonna let it go. Or maybe he said something that's kind of weird. Okay, all right. Jackson Wang farts. Okay, all right. Human nature. People fart all the damn time, right? And it smell like ass cheeks. Like he ate something bad, right? You'd be like, damn, I got to smell Jackson Wang's fart. Probably not the best thing, right? You're like, yeah, but it's Jackson Wang, so you probably deal with it, right? Let's just say this guy you already don't like that much. You kind of, he's like, if I don't see him again, it's all good. It's not that big of a deal. And he farts and it smelled so bad. You're like, holy shit, I got to deal with this for the rest of my life potentially. I'm going to walk out, right? You know what I mean? So that's an example. Fart example, all right? So yeah, Jackson Wang's fart. So I'm just using that as an example, right? Like these are things that maybe you might, if you like them a lot, great. If not, then you know what? It's not. Look, no, right? Yeah, that's a good example. I'm proud of you, Mitchell. You thought of that on the spot. Jackson Wang's fart. Anyways, let's see. Okay, so what am I talking about next? I went all over the place. Let me go back here. So I believe that the ability to overcome self-doubt and having the courage to be confident enough to approach. And I think those are great things. Being able to just look, I don't always feel the best. So let's just say I'm not feeling the best and I'd be like, damn, I find her attractive, but I'm just not really feeling it. Like I'm not. Yeah. There's a lot on my mind. So if I approach you with that type of mindset, then what is that? You go into sense that like humans are very intuitive creatures. Like we know when we're not at our best. You know what I mean? Let me see what you say. These examples be off the chain. Yo, those examples be letting loose. All right. Smell like roses. Yeah, we just pretend. Yeah, you'd be like, you know what? He probably be like, he probably just ate something like they fed him uncaged fucking chicken eggs. Like those chickens didn't get to like you make excuses for 'em. Like those eggs were probably not cage free. So that's why. Yeah. But if it's some guy that you kind of like, yeah, he first, it wasn't attractive. Like, I didn't find him totally attractive. I found him decent. And now he farts and it smells like shit. Like, you probably a slob, you piece of... You ass. Literally. Right? So, yeah. So, it's different. It's different in the scales, right? So, more than likely, people at a 5, they can't fuck up, right? So, overcoming self-doubt, having the courage, right? Those are good things. Those are great things. Being able to try new things and just see it as it goes. You know what I mean? Like, here's an example. In the beginning, I really didn't want to switch over to YouTube. I just wanted to stay. I was comfortable where I was at, you know, on IG. But you know, my friend was like, "Yo, Mitch, I think it's a good choice. You should at least try it. At least it will build up towards something that's more important, right? Like I need 4,000 hours, okay?" So there's 6 people in here. There's 6 people. So let's just say there's 4 people. It adds up. So even if you're not really watching, as long as you're on the screen, it adds up time, right? It accumulates. So there's 4 people. I need 1,000 hours from each one of you guys. Let's just say there's only 4 people. Everyone shows up every single day. Well, not every single day, but like Yeah, 1,000 hours. That's a lot of hours, right? Like, but it adds up. It adds up. But what I'm saying is, I didn't want to switch over right away, but at the same time, he was like, "Yeah," but I made a lot of excuses. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not ready yet. I get to do the slide thing. I don't really have to slide yet." I was like, "Yeah, but you just gotta do things." You know what I mean? And my next one eventually would be on Twitch. I want to be able, because I like gaming. I'm not great at it, but I like gaming, and I want to be able to talk to people about that, right? So, anyways, uh, moving on. So, what you can do is be genuinely curious about the other person. Okay, back to the slide. That's what you can do. Be genuinely curious about that person. So, hey, what is that perfume that you have on? It smells really nice. It reminds me of, I don't know. It just reminds me of something like problems will go away, and you're reminding me about that. What is that? What is that? And then it'll be like, oh, it's this brand, right? It's a spray. Well, you know what? And let's just say you're at a gym, right? You'd be like, you know what? You continue to spray that, and every time you walk by, I'm just gonna be like, damn, problems just go away. And I'm gonna relate those problems that went away with you. So what does that mean? What does that tell me about you? Even though I don't even know your first name, it means that problems go away. And my day just got this much better because you walked by and you had that smell. Now, if you didn't have that smell, we're gonna have a problem now, right? Because my problems are still there. So now you make it playful and fun. Whatever, right? I'm just making shit up. Whatever, right? So that's an example. But be genuinely curious. Like, no, what is that? Like, I'm curious. Like, oh, what is that move that you're doing at the gym or whatever, right? Or, hey, what are you ordering? It smells really good. I would love a piece, but I'm a stranger and I get it, right? Stranger danger. I get it. So be genuinely curious, right? Or be authentically appreciating about the other person's presence, right? So when you're really talking to somebody, really like pay close attention to them. So wow, okay, so that's what you like. That's what you like to do. That's what you enjoy. Oh, wow, like what makes you want to do that as opposed to this? Like, what made you want to become a physical therapist as opposed to a occupational therapist? Or you used to be a physical therapist, but now you want to go into being a chiropractor. Like, why? What made you want to do that, right? I had a friend. He was a personal trainer and he became a chiropractor, and I was like, yo, so why did you want to do that? And so like we were just talking, and then he was like, yeah, Mitchell, like, how about this? Why don't I just show you certain things? And I was like, sure, yeah, I'm down. And like literally, he could easily just charge per session, but he was like, no, like, this is what you do when people are hurt, and this is how you could evaluate it so that you could, this is how you can fix. Now I just gain more knowledge, right? So be genuinely curious and authentically, and like appreciate their presence there, because you're showing them time, right? And this is why I love this quote, and I know I use this quote a lot. So broken record time, right? Sound like a broken record. The difference between appreciation and flattery, that is simple. One is sincere and the other is insincere. One comes from a heart out, the other from a teeth out. One is unselfish, the other one is selfish. One is universally admired, the other one is universally condemned. Dale Carnegie. How to win friends and influence people. So, lastly, last slide. I have 7 minutes left. I think I'm gonna finish on time this time. So common fixes we see in relationships. So common fixes you might see, right? So here's an example. So maybe you guys get into an argument. You guys are in a fight or whatever, and say the guy fucked up or messed up. So he's trying to buy her flowers or buy her favorite flowers, or taking her to a nice restaurant, or doing a nice thing. One of those, right? Trying to make her happier again. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but like I said, what is your intent behind that, right? What is your intent? Is your intent to be like, oh, hope she forgets about it? Or is it more like, you know what? Because here's why I don't see there's a problem with that. If she likes flowers, and you know what, I haven't gotten her flowers in a long time. She liked lilies, so let me get some lilies before I come back home. All right, let me get her some lilies. Yeah, what I said earlier was kind of out of pocket. It's probably not the best thing. Yeah, I feel like shit for saying that. All right, let me get some lilies. So now I'll bring some lilies home, right? Lilies. Yeah, hey babe. Yeah, you know, how are you? I'm fine. Okay. Well, why don't you come out? Why don't you come out? Why should I? Well, because I think you will like this. I think you will like this. What is it? Well, you have to come out to see it. All right, so she finally walks out, right? And then so you be like surprised, so you take her these lilies, and she's like, "Oh, okay, these are nice." So like she's slightly smiling inside. You can feel it. Why? Because we're human. We're intuitive creatures. We know this shit, right? So she's finally smiling in the inside. These are nice. Yeah, they smell fresh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, I want to talk about what happened last night. I was a little out of pocket. I shouldn't have said that. Blah 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 blah. On and on. And so when that happens, that's why I don't think those are bad, but it becomes the wrong intent when you're using it to cover up some of the responsibilities that you still have, right? It doesn't fix the problem. It's not supposed to resolve that problem. Like flowers and taking her out to nice meals and all this and doing all these nice things is not supposed to fix what just happened. It means that you go back to it and you think about it like opening up a door to be like, here's my gesture. But I still want to talk about some of the things because like it kind of almost ended bad, and it didn't need to be like that. And I shouldn't have yelled. Bad, Mitchell. Bad. I shouldn't have yelled. That's my fault, right? And then you see if that person can somewhat do the same thing as well. It's like, well, yeah, maybe I could have maybe not yelled as much too as well. And yeah, it could have been a lot better, but I'm sorry too, right? Like then, and not just saying sorry, but actually diving more deeper into like, yeah, I'm sorry about blah blah, and be specific about it, right? And so that's why these act of kindness is great, but it should not expect the other person to change how you feel about the situation. It doesn't cure that problem. That's not a solution, right? It's more of a gesture. But you would still like to communicate about what happened so that you could fix the problem. So while tips and tricks or quick fixes can be useful at times to alleviate tension, it is more important to find out the root cause of the problem, right? The best approach is to collectively do things that is intrinsic to who you are. So these are things that is important to you, right? So if you think that relationship is important to you, then it means that I need to become better at communicating, because my communication sucks, because all I do is yell when things don't go my way. That's not communicating. That's no different than a little kid getting upset at a sandbox and kicking sand and taking toys and walking away. That's no difference. You know what I mean? So that means like, hey, you know what? You're important to me. That means that I need to learn a little bit more about relationships if I want to be in a happy, healthy relationship myself. So these are things, but you got to do it for yourself and not for the other person, right? Because let's just say you did it for the other person and the results didn't come, you're going to be upset, right? But let's just say you did something and it did work. Then you'd be like, yes, success. Not knowing that, and success is not the best teacher. Failure is, right? So anyways, if you did it for yourself, then you get to learn. You get to learn the process. You get to learn the philosophy behind it. And that's where it really lies. That it's what is important to you. Okay? This will require some work. Okay? So this will require some work and a bit of soul searching. And could be cleaning up some parts of you that you're not very proud of. Maybe you, like I said, you get angry a lot, you get frustrated, right? You're insecure, you get jealous really easily. And jealousy isn't a bad thing, but how you react to jealousy could, right? So some parts that you're not very proud of, or it could be improving on things that you're already good at. Hey, I think I'm pretty good when it comes to relationship, but I want to know more. Why? Because I want my life to be exciting, and I thrive off of this too. You know what I mean? So as you change the way you are, so this is what happens when you start changing, okay? As you change the way you are and act in ways according to what you think, so now these are aligned now, right? there's a possibility that you might not get it from that person that you want it from. So let's just say you're changing who you are because you want your life to be better, okay? But then that means that you cut out the expectations from the other person, see if they align with that too themselves, right? And most people, they try to change so that they could change another person. That's, to me, that's manipulation. But if you change for yourself, then you can finally see whether or not that person aligns with you, not to change them so they so you're trying to bend their reality so that it fits into yours. Like I said, that's manipulation. You're fixing yourself so that, and here's the thing, they might not change, and it could also be a possibility of that's not what they want. But like I said in the beginning of this episode, which is you're creating this life and lifestyle for yourself so that you could welcome that person into your life whenever that is. But most of the time, people don't really believe in themselves enough to think that, hey, you know what, I will have a good person in my life. But as long as you continue work, you know what's the most attractive thing to me in a person is to, like, how I see it is like when they ask you about you and they're genuinely curious about how are you, how was your day, like shit like that, things that sound kind of tedious, things that might sound like, it's like, why do you ask me that all the time, like, and hey, that does happen. Like, why do you keep asking me if I had a good sleep, or why do you always ask me if I had a good day or not? And it's because you only project how you feel on the outside to really how you genuinely feel on the inside. So unless you fix yourself, it doesn't you're going to repel a lot of people out of your life. So my biggest suggestion, and like I said, going back to last week on Saturday's episode, the quickest way to get someone to change is to change yourself. So if you guys haven't watched that, I highly encourage you to watch that episode, or go back to it and listen to it again, because this is what self-reliance is. You're not trying to change another person, you're trying to become a better person so that you could create the life and lifestyle for that next person to come in. And so what happens? Life fills voids. And when life fills voids, if you're in a shitty place, that's what's technically like attracts like. So that's what it is. So if you're in a much better place, and you know what you want in a relationship, these are core values, this is what you value, these are your goals, these are the things that you want, right? Then you're going to create that space for that person to fit in, right? And if it doesn't fit, you will know it because you already know what you want. And like I said, especially if these are core values that you highly value yourself, then you're going to expect it from the next person that comes in. Otherwise, they're not going to come into your life, right? But be careful understanding values, what are core values, and having unrealistic expectations, right? Because having someone that's 6 feet tall and all this and have all this type of money, and sometimes, like, think about, is that really the most important things for you? And if it is, then hey, you know what? I'm not here to change your views on what you think, but what I am saying is, keep an open mind about it, because at the end of the day, we're all human, right? Money doesn't fix problems. The relationship doesn't fix your problems. These things only amplify how you are in a relationship. So if you're an alcoholic and you've been drinking and you were poor, the only difference is that now you drink top shelf stuff, right? If you're unhappy in a relationship and you get into a relationship, temporary happiness, but they amplify who you already are. So once shit doesn't align well to what you want, you start blowing shit out of proportion. That shows a lot about who you are as a person, and that's your character. And that being said, that is the end of the show today. Society is addicted to quick fixes, but like I said, quick fixes aren't bad. It's just if you want to solve long-term problems, you want long-term solutions, right? Quick fixes, great for de-escalating situations. Okay, that being said, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys this Saturday for my next episode. And once again, thank you for all your time. I really do appreciate y'all. Yeah, leave a like, share with your friends, all that good stuff. So thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. Yeah, and Mitchell's out. All right, bye, peace.